Dear students, let us begin with the second part of the lesson on China's presence in South Asia and its impact on India, in which we will discuss about China's investment in South Asia. Let us discuss about China's investment in South Asia. The South Asian economic pattern of regional trade is greatly lopsided. While India is the largest country in terms of physical size and economy, others continue to lag significantly behind. Over the years, India has enjoyed a natural advantage in trading with South Asian countries in terms of a huge trade surplus in its favor. This is largely missing in India's trade relationship in other regions, namely Southeast Asia and Europe. China has, however, over time entered the South Asian market and reduced India's trade shares in South Asia. China is currently the major trading partner for several South Asian countries, including India. China's trade with the region is higher than that of India. China's trade with Pakistan is large, which is attributed to the China-Pakistan Free Trade Agreement signed in 2006. China's trade with the South Asian countries is mainly export driven, making it a main source of goods for South Asia. Its exports mainly comprise of high-end manufactured goods while buying cheap raw materials and semi-finished goods in return from the South Asian countries. This leads to a trade surplus in favor of China, and the regional countries do not benefit equally from the trading relationship. China has expanded in the region's important sectors such as construction, e-commerce and financial sectors. Furthermore, China's cheap raw materials often undermine the manufacturing sector in these countries when buying is easier than producing. Thus, it undermines the incentive for production. However, South Asian goods often do not get the required opening for their products in China's market. For instance, Bangladesh garment export sector faces competition from the exports from Vietnam to China. China has also acquired major stakes in several international companies. For instance, in 2018, one Chinese company acquired 25% share in the Dhaka Stock Exchange. In Pakistan, Alibaba has acquired Daraj Group, Pakistan's e-retailer, and China's Ant Financial has acquired a 45% stake in Telenor Microfinance Bank, an affiliate of Telenor Group in Pakistan. Alibaba has also acquired major stakes in Indian multinational companies such as Ola and Paytm. Let us discuss about China's investment in South Asia. In the infrastructure development, the BRI provides South Asian countries with development in transport sectors in the form of roads, rails, ports and pipelines in ample quantity. More importantly, infrastructure building comes under either grants or adequate loans, which are attractive opportunities for South Asian countries. All the South Asian countries except India and Bhutan have signed the BRI, and several projects have been completed and some are currently in operation in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. For China, BRI is crucial as it aims to reduce its dependence on the Malacca states for its inflow of energy supplies coming from the Middle East and African countries. China's Malacca dilemma. As the states of Malacca are closer to India and the US base of Diego Garcia, Chinese ships carrying energy resources might be subject to blockade or other forms of passage restrictions in the event of a war or a direct conflict with them. This has led China to find an alternative route of passage so as to bypass the Malacca Strait if threatened. The BRI connects several areas of globe such as South Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe and Africa. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the flagship project of the BRI, and the project cost is around $62 billion. The overland route runs from the Kasgar region in China's Xinjiang province and connects to Gwadar in the Balochistan region of Pakistan. At the Gwadar port, which is currently being developed by the Chinese Overseas Port Holdings of China, crucial maritime routes will enable China access to the Arabian Sea in the Indian Ocean. Furthermore, China has developed BRI projects as per each South Asian country's needs and interests. To Pakistan, the BRI constructed Gwadar port would provide an alternative to the Karachi port, which is congested and overutilized in handling capacities. With completion of the Gwadar free zone, it is expected to generate large revenue amounting to about $10 billion US. For Bangladesh, China has built the country's largest bridge Padma with investment in developmental sectors of education and culture. China is also the largest military supplier for Bangladesh. It would become difficult for Bangladesh to dissociate itself from the BRI. China has offered the use of its 4 major ports to Nepal to reduce the latter's disproportionate dependence on India for trade. According to estimates, about 60% of Nepal's exports and imports are handled by Haldia and Visakhapatnam ports. India's blockade in the Tarai along its border with Nepal in 2015, supposedly rallying support for Nepal's Madheshi protesters, had caused severe shortage of food, fuel and medicine supplies in Nepal. This generated a lot of misunderstanding between India and Nepal, as the latter alleged India's interference in its internal affairs. China is a major contributor to Maldivian tourism and can use it to reward or trouble the island if it fails to toe China's line. The BRI has been viewed globally to have considerable potential to increase world income by 0.7% and of being capable to lift 7.6 million people out of extreme poverty and 32 million people out of moderate poverty. Further, it would enhance world GDP by 1.3% and boost world trade by 5%. However, the project has been on the radar for careful inquiry by several countries and organizations regarding worries that the implementation of the infrastructure projects under the BRI introduces severe debt traps and debt for equity agreements between China and the participating countries. According to IMF figures, Pakistan's total external debt currently stands at $90.12 billion US, with Pakistan owing 27.4% or $24.70 billion US of this debt to China. Maldives too, according to the reports, has debts to pay back to China of $3 billion US, which is staggering due to the impact of the COVID pandemic on its tourism driven economy. Bangladesh similarly owes a substantial amount to China. Sri Lanka's debt swap agreement was for the lease of the Hambantota port for 99 years to China and has been criticized internationally. Thus, it is feared that low income and underdeveloped countries would find it difficult to pay back the loans to China acquired from BRI projects construction. This would result in China obtaining leverage of that situation by asking countries to mortgage their national assets to its national companies. I hope you understood about China's investment in South Asia. We will discuss about India's concern over China's presence in South Asia in the next video. Thank you.